Yes, yes, yes. This is the HL podcast for our HL Tuesdays. We are the dopest podcast in the DMV, presented to you all by the Harris Firm and Willpower Innovations. I am Aaron Brock alongside your boy Chief.
Man, let's get it. Let's
Let's
get
get
it.
it. Now, tonight, people, this is our HL interviews where we sit down and converse with the up and coming and established, the talented and the intelligent, the artists and the entrepreneurs and the creators and the activists. All right. Now, people, please remember that all of our previous interview episodes are available on all major podcast platforms and on our YouTube channels at the HL Podcast and the EEM Network. All right.
Yes.
Right now, we are broadcasting live on the Roku platform and Apple TV on the Politicking app via Politicking Broadcasting. A very special shout out to the StreamYard platform where we are live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube right now, people. And lastly, you may have seen it as it scrolled down there at the bottom. I don't know. Did they see it yet, Chief? I don't know. They saw it just
at least two times. They're gonna catch another glimpse of it. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
they will catch another glimpse. But if you look at this scroll, oh, there it goes right there. All right, the Lost Weekend, people. The Lost Weekend is coming soon. That is a docu-film, executive produced by Chief and I, produced by Blackworks creators and visions that transcend. It's an incredible project. Again, it's about a man from the DMV who decides to travel to New York City for the weekend and documents his entire journey. Again, this is a docu-film, very special project. The Chief and I, we can't wait for the people to see it. But how can you see it? Where can you see it? When does it come out? Right? You got to continue to listen to our episodes and to our interviews to find out. But it's definitely coming soon. That's why you gotta continue. That's why you gotta continue to listen or follow us on IG, TikTok, and Facebook, and we'll definitely have that information popping up for you very soon. Again, people, the Lost Weekend, yeah, it's gonna be incredible.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be incredible.
I'm excited for it. We put a lot of time in it, y'all. So, hey, just bear with us. Like I said, it's coming very, very soon. We putting the finishes touches on it as we speak, and then it'll be ready.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into this interview. Once again, the interview is brought to you by the Blackworks creators. That is definitely our, and that's your guy right there, Amra, but definitely our writing and production platform. All right, so tonight, our special guest, we're amongst royalty, guys, just to let y'all know.
Yes.
We're amongst royalty.
Yes, royalty.
3-time whammy winner, right? That's a whammy winner. There we go. Singer, songwriter, vocalist. My guy, we know him personally. Okay, DMV's own Jarreau Williams. Let's go ahead and bring in this royalty real quick.
Oh,
there you go.
let's go. Hey, you know we had to do it.
y'all too much, man.
Hey, it's all love and respect, man. It's all love and respect. You already know.
Kings amongst kings.
There we go. There we go. I walk with that, man. How you feeling today, though, brother?
You know, man, with everything that's going on in the world right now, especially as it pertains to us as black men, you know, it's a wild thing, but I'm blessed to be living. You know, got my first COVID shot today, get one step closer to, you know, returning to a sense of normalcy, but doing things slightly different than before. But yeah, I'm feeling blessed today, man. So, hey, I'm just blessed to be with my brothers, you know, good people.
Yeah. I hear that. We appreciate you for saying that. So the first question, man, we want to dive right in. I know you say you're definitely big into mental health. So the first question deals with mental health. But first, I want to read a caption out. It's like one of my things now. I love doing that. Shout out to Amrock for giving me the space to do so. But it says, there's something therapeutic about being in the booth. The ability to shut everything out and lock in on a piece of music gets me in the zone. Like a scientist in the lab or an athlete in the gym, the studio is my place of peace, realization of potential. Okay? So hearing that, I then ask you, how is your mental right now? Right? Once you go into that booth, is it easy to block out what's going on, like you said, especially what's going on right now? Is it easier? It probably doesn't get easier, but you know, how are you maintaining your mental between music and actually real life?
Man, that's such a great question. A lot of it is really just based on compartmentalizing, right?
Mm,
So, like I said, when I'm in the booth, when I'm in the studio, when I'm on stage, or wherever music is involved, it's so great to just be able to lock everything else out that I'm going through, everything else that's going on in the world, and really just focus on me and the music, because
mm,
that's really what it's about. You know, it was I was in the studio last week, and that was one thing that we talked about was people come to see the connection between the music and the artist.
facts.
And a lot of times we as artists get so caught up on, I wonder what everybody thinks. I want, like, how's my wardrobe? You know, like, oh
Mm,
man, do these songs sound tight? Like, okay, does everybody hear what they need to hear? Like,
mm,
are people bored? You know what I mean? We're asking
mm,
ourselves all these questions, but people kind of put that stuff kind of on the back burner because they think more so about what is this person's connection to the music? What is the music doing to them, which
mm.
then causes a reaction out of us. So to answer your question, the year has really been up and down, in terms
Mhm.
of, just everything with the pandemic and Black Lives Matter, all these protests, like people dying left and right, man. It's just been a wild year. So, to say that it wasn't traumatic would be a lie.
Hmm.
There was a lot of it that really affected me, man. It's almost like a piece of me like died in 2020,
Of course, of course.
But that's not a bad thing because a piece of you has to die so that a new piece of you can be reborn.
Mm, mm.
Kind of like a phoenix. That's kind of how I've approached life over these past 12 months. So my mentals have been up and down, man. I don't sugarcoat anything when it comes to mental health because, especially as Black men, we have to be honest about that. We have to be
Agreed,
upfront about how we feel.
agreed.
Um, so right today, my mentals are great, but tomorrow something could
Yeah,
happen and something could trigger that,
yeah.
and then I'm down for like 3-4 days. But I know now that we've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, like I know better days are coming
Mhm.
because now that people will be able to kind of get past this transition period, we can get back to doing some things that people enjoy, give them a sense of fulfillment, and just make people happier.
I agree. I agree. Dr.
Yeah.
Miles Monroe has this quote that says, if what you see is not what you saw, then what you see is very temporary. And what I saw in this life is totally different than what I'm seeing right now. So Black people, hold on. Matter of fact, anybody, just hold on. It's definitely gonna get great from here. So take us back to the beginning. So of course you're from the DMV, specifically Alexandria. How was it growing up there with you and your family?
Man, we so music has always been a part of my life, man. Like even just growing up, I was doing choir since like third grade.
Mm,
So I was that kid that sang "I Believe I Can Fly" at graduations, and did like the solos and did musicals and all that
mm,
kind of stuff.
mm,
I tried playing sports, but it just didn't have the same success that music did. It's like when a door opens and you
mm,
know that you're multi-talented in many things, but which
mm.
door opens the widest for you?
Agreed.
Mhm.
That's the door you walk through. And until another door opens even wider than that one, it's like, hey, let me live in this space. And for a while that was acting. I had done films, I had done commercials, TV, all of that. And
Mhm.
probably about like 2014, music started to creep back in.
Hmm.
And I just walked through that door and I said, okay, I'm gonna start releasing music. I'm gonna start getting back into this singing thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to get in a band. I want to create my own band. And yeah, I just started doing all of that. And then here we are 5 years later,
Mm-hmm.
Whammy Award winner, all that kind
Hey
of stuff.
man.
No overnight,
We gonna get to it? We gonna get
no
to
Ah,
it?
no overnight successes here. Like, let me be
facts.
very clear about that. This was I started singing professionally back in 2007 when I was
Mm.
back in Michael Bublé for like one gig. But you know what I mean? It's a paying gig. So at that point, you're a professional at that point, you know?
Facts.
You know, and I was a student at Virginia Tech at the time. And, you know, I had been chasing this journey for 15 years now. Been chasing this, like just hustling, you know, grinding, like working. I was working at an elementary school at one point, and you know, whenever I got the chance, I was, you know, going up to New York to audition for Broadway and, you know, film and everything else, and then coming right back and working a full-time job. Sometimes working 3-4 jobs at the same time, just hustling to make it work. And that's really what this requires a lot of the time. So when you see 3-time Whammy Award winner next to my name, just know that wasn't no one night thing.
Yeah.
That's 15 years of hard work.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah, I can attest to that. I heard the story before. We used to talk, and that, guys, it's a fact. He's been working for a long time for this.
And the chief knows, because we used to work together. Like, exactly. That's how we met.
Like, he been talking about this, and I remember when he made his decision, like, yo, this is my thing now. And now look, we amongst royalty, as we spoke. So what does it mean? What does it mean to you being an artist and representing, you know, DMV right now? I know a lot of people right now love to represent where they from, but now to me it's like a different time. So how does it feel to actually be representing the city, you know, you're from, as an artist, as a recording artist?
I love this area, man. I'm, you know, born and raised here. You know, I may not be a Washingtonian, like but I've lived all around that city. I've lived Alexandria, I've lived in Bowie, I've lived in Suitland, I've lived in DC. You know, I've been all over DMV. So, you know, it's like I'm a child of this, you know. So it's I'm so proud of my area, not just because of what the city brings, but also because of the people in it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people think that this is just a political city. It's so much deeper than that. Like what we bring, there's something for everybody here.
Yeah.
And I love that. And you know, over the past couple of years, I've really been trying to work to really re-engage the African American community, because growing up, I went to predominantly white schools. I was in predominantly white classes, you know, sometimes being like the only African American or only African American male in like a lot of honors, tag classes, things like that. So now I'm really relishing, you know, loving being Black. You know what I'm saying? Because there was so many situations growing up where you kind of had to shadow your Blackness.
That's a fact.
I mean? Like, we had to, you know, we had to fit in. It was like we had to do the code. You know what I'm saying? Like code switching. And you know, when you're with one group of people, you talk one way. You with another group, you do something slightly different. And I was with majority white people a lot of the time, so I didn't really get that like full on connection with African, you know, other Black people, other African Americans. So now it's like through the stories I'm telling and through everything that happened in 2020, really seeing what it's like being Black now in this country, what it's always been, what we've always known, but now people are finally listening. I'm like, I got to put that into the music that I write. I have to put that emotion in there. I have to be confident enough to tell the stories so that people finally wake up and say, wow, okay, this was really an issue. Like, this is really something worth talking about.
Interesting. So I'm glad you said that, because that leads me to my next question, because I know, like you told the folks, like you was traveling back and forth to make this full-time thing work. What made you decide to commit to this full time? Was it a lot of stuff happening where you say, you know what, my voice needs to be heard right now as a Black man amongst a lot of peers that seeming into the world are white, right? But then amongst your own that sometimes don't hear you, because let's be real, as Black folks, sometimes our own people don't hear us. Right. So what happened in between? Like, what snapped in your mind to say, you know what, I got to do this music thing. I have to.
I think it was when I almost died. You know, it was I had some health issues back in 2016, like life-threatening health issues twice in a year, really twice in 6 months. And when I saw how my job reacted to that, or lack thereof, and mind you, the year before that, I had just had a coworker pass away suddenly in that job, that same job.
Wow.
So when I saw how it was like, okay, we still going to business as usual. Like, hey, are you okay? Oh, okay, cool. So when you coming back to work? And it's like, yo, I almost died. Like I had a heart attack at 28. It's like that's when life just really hits you. Like when you finally realize your mortality
Mm,
and you see what you're spending your time on, and you know that's not conducive to the potential that you can live up to.
mm,
That's when it really started to shift for me. And I said,
Mhm.
I can't keep living like this anymore. It's like, yeah, I was pursuing that dream, but I was also, trying to make money so I could have the capital, to be able to walk away at some point. And
mm.
about like 2017, 2018, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, hey, Chief knows.
Yeah.
He was one of the first people I told when I left that job. I was
Yep.
like, dude, I can't. I was like, it's time for me to roll, because I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not getting my fulfillment here. Like, you can be great at something, but it doesn't give you fulfillment.
That's a fact.
And
Yep.
I know for me, music and performance, that's where I belong. That's like oxygen to me.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
when I know that something like that is breathing, worth living and dying for,
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, this is it. And honestly, when people ask me, well, if you couldn't do music, what else would you do? I honestly couldn't tell you.
Mm,
Like it's
mm,
it's it's that dire for me.
mm,
You
mm,
know, I love this like breathing. I love this like it's life or death for me.
mm. I agree. That's really how, and I'm glad you said that because some people won't understand that. Amrock and I understand that because this is what we love to do, right?
Yep.
And we're firm believers in the higher God and His begotten Son Jesus. And of course, Jesus took it all the way to the death of His purpose.
Right.
You know, we can't stop at before the death. So if Jesus took it all the way and we believe in that, we got to go all the
That's
way
right.
with it too. Fred Hampton did it. Martin Luther King did it. Malcolm X did it. I mean, Rosa Parks. There's so many people who took it all the way to the death. So why should we stop? Right.
Exactly.
So we definitely understand you. So let me ask you this. What's the process behind, which is one of our favorite questions, like creating music, right? And also please tell us like some of the artists that inspired you on the way.
So my process, a lot of it is kind of just like out of thin air sometimes, man. Like when you just talked about it, like the spirituality of the thing, right? Sometimes things can hit you at any given day, any given time, any given moment. And
Hmm,
really, it just comes down to capitalizing on the moment. Don't let the moment go to waste. So, like for example, during the pandemic,
hmm,
there were times where I would allow myself to just wake up naturally, because it's like, what else are we going to do? Where else are we going to go? And depending on what I was doing on that given day or that given time, I would write.
hmm,
And it could be about anything. I was like, I don't need to necessarily write about a specific topic. I just need to write about what's on my mind right now.
hmm,
And that could be about the weather. It could be about, another black man dying on the street. It could be
hmm,
about this
Mhm.
relationship that's not going right. Whatever that is, just go ahead and write about it. And then because I don't necessarily play any instruments like skillfully, I base a lot of what I do on beatbox. So if I
hmm,
if I can get the melody or the percussion of the track the way that I'm, visualizing, or I'm seeing it in my head, then I'll base it off of that, and then just try to like hum some things out before I send it over to a producer and say, hey,
hmm,
this is what I'm thinking on this track. Let's write this. And then the other cool
hmm.
thing too is when you have songs that just completely come out from scratch. Like
Yeah, I
you
know.
just walk in the studio one day and you're like, so what you want to write about? What do you feel? All right, let's do this, let's do that. And then after 3 or so hours, you got a song. You know what I mean?
Wow,
It's
wow,
beauty and stuff like that
wow.
that really makes this music thing like so beautiful, man. Like
Mm,
it allows you to let your imagination run free.
mm.
Because in a lot of other jobs, really can't do that. It's like people tell you be creative, but they want to pull a leash on you and be
Oh,
like,
facts.
okay, not that creative. Okay,
Yeah,
maybe a little too
yeah,
creative.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, music doesn't really have that barrier,
Mm,
because there's going to be something out there for everybody.
mm,
And the most important thing that every musician should remember is we're not just writing the music for us.
Mm.
We're putting this out there because there's somebody else out there who needs what we're telling.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
You know, like, and no matter what the subject is, like you can put something out today, no matter what the topic is, and there's gonna be at least one person out there in the world that hears that and it's like, yo, this is my jam. Like
Yes.
this is the type of stuff I get down to. And
Yes.
really, it's just finding more people who feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Man, that's deep. That's deep. We love that. We love hearing the creative process as creators. Man, you know, it's people need to believe in that process, right? Sometimes some people think it takes a few seconds. Sometimes people it takes a few years. It's a continuum of this
Right.
creative process. But I'm glad that you said that, you know, at some jobs, you know, there is some confines when it comes to creativity. You can't be too colorful, you know.
Right.
More so got to be like black and white, and that's where purpose and work are two different things. You know,
Right.
that's how
Well,
you can
key example today, you know, I wanted to share this on the podcast today because I think it's important, it's relevant for all of us, given what's happened with Dante Wright. You know, whenever I'm feeling a certain way about a subject, I try to channel my emotions into writing. I always try to channel my emotions into the music. So again, I wrote something that while I was just sitting at home this morning and I was processing everything that's happening. And I just wanted to share a little bit of it with you guys and the viewers out there, if that's okay.
That's okay. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I just wrote a little something that's called One Race. I'm just gonna it'll be a song at some point, but I just want to read it, you know, just because this was something that kind of hit my heart, something heavy today.
Yes, sir.
So it's called One Race. So it goes like this. How many more names? How much more pain? Will this ever change? Will policies be arranged? Hit me to the core, send me to the floor. Too many stories to ignore. It's driving me insane. Healing is the aim. Don't let our people die in vain. White, black, brown, or green. First, we're human beings. Love is the key to unity. Say their names. Feel their pain. Strip it away. We are all the same. One world, one space, one love, one race.
That's deep.
I just got up this morning. I was like, boom, let me put this down.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we appreciate that. Definitely speaking about healing.
Right. And that's what I believe, man. It's because a lot of the stuff that we're seeing is, quite honestly, hate comes from misunderstanding. And there's a lot of misunderstanding in this country.
That's a fact.
You know, the fact that our skin color already puts us at a disadvantage when people don't even know us, and we all come in and out of this world the same way is unfortunate, man. Just imagine how much more advanced we'd be as a people and as a nation if we didn't let this get in the way.
Wow. That's deep. That's deep. They can't get past this part right here, like you said, and it's not my fault. You know, we were born this way. Yes, we were born great, but why does this hinder progress?
Our pigment should not make us a threat.
That's a fact.
You know, and just being real about it. If a white man can go into a place with a automatic weapon and walk out in handcuffs, why is it that we get killed at a routine traffic stop? It don't make sense. The system don't work the same way for everybody. And unfortunately, that was one of the things that I unfortunately found out I was very naive about last year. It's like you kind of know. We've watched all the slave movies, we've watched all the police brutality movies and things like that. They make us mad, we process them, but it's like, did we really like tell ourselves like this could be me?
Right.
Trayvon Martin could have been me. Oscar Grant could have been me. Philando Castile could have been me. You see what I'm saying? Like George Floyd could have been me. Dwayne Wright could have been me. Deion K could have been me. You see what I'm saying? And for me now in this space, I'm just like, yeah, I want to make music that's fun and people have a good time, but I also want to make the songs that really make people think and get intellectual. You know, that's a total 180 from my musical style that's happened in the past like 18 months.
Wow. And I know you talk about music with a message, and saying all of that brings me to my next question is, why is having control over your brand and your music so important? And you just answered it right there, and you could expound more. But there you go, guys, right there. If you want to have a message, if you want to have a message inside of your music, if you want to speak how you want, you got to have control
Right.
over your music.
And you asked me about influences earlier. All of my influences did that. If you think about Michael Jackson, like They Don't Care About Us,
Yeah.
and Marvin Gaye with What's Going On, Stevie Wonder with Higher Ground, like,
Right.
or all these other songs that had a lot. Nina Simone, Mississippi Goddamn, those type of things that talked about a lot of these bigger issues. And the crazy thing is, they wrote that 40, 50, 60 years ago, and they're still relevant right now in 2021.
Billie Holiday, Strange Fruit.
Strange Fruits.
Talk on it, man.
That's number one up there.
Talk on it. Talk on it. I mean, those artists right there like paved the way for a lot of us, and they made such great music in such turmoil. I feel like that's where the best music comes from.
I agree.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
So during the pandemic, right? Everybody was going through stuff. Again, some people unfortunately lost employment. Some people, lost loved ones. Right? What did you personally learn about yourself during the pandemic? In the early stages, I mean, because obviously we still in the pandemic. I mean, when it first happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing that I learned is how much I love what I do. Because when all this stuff happened, immediately I went to like an entrepreneur mindset. And you have to, the thing as an entrepreneur, as a business person, is you always have to be ready for plan A to go wrong. Meaning that when plan A doesn't work, you immediately got to go, okay, what's plan B, C, D, E, F, G?
Right.
And when the pandemic first started, I lost like double-digit gigs in 48 hours. Like thousands of dollars in income. Like tens of thousands of dollars in income.
Yikes.
So immediately my mind was like, okay, I can't panic because I know this was going to happen. It was leading to that. Now it's like, what can I do moving forward? And part of it was nothing. You have to sit back and process first in order to figure out what your move is going to be. And it really made all of us realize in a way how much we're going like 180 miles an hour at life, that we don't get a chance to slow down and assess what we've even done.
Yes, sir.
So that was one thing I realized. And the other thing was, I just really care about my community and my friends, because immediately my mind was like, I need to, like, this is a time for people to educate. This is a time for people to be educated.
Yes.
And, I hosted master classes. I had forums. I, did all that kind of stuff because I wanted people to come out of this feeling like they learned something new. And they learned it new from somebody they knew versus like some Instagram ad or Facebook ad that you see about offering a product. Somebody that they trusted, somebody who they knew had been there, had done that, including me. I wanted to learn from other people that I had known along the way, because I didn't want to be an artist that would have to rev myself back up once things were over. I wanted to keep trucking along.
Yeah, so, I hear that.
And then personally, I just found that I really saw how hard it was being Black. That's the plain thing about it. I learned how difficult it has been being Black in this country. When you see how hard we have to work to get opportunities just to be as good as somebody who did 10 times less work as we did.
Oh my goodness.
And you're seeing some of the opportunities that other people are getting, or specifically when we started seeing everything happen with Breonna Taylor, with Ahmaud Arbery, with George Floyd, and it happened in this this like consecutive sweep,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you started seeing people like change, like, okay, like, wow, I didn't realize Black people were going through this. And that was our chance to tell our story, and the stories that we've been telling for so long, but nobody listened.
Facts.
You know, so, but I think the most disappointing part about that was people that you've known for years, decades, were just still living their lives as if nothing had happened. And it's like as if they didn't know a single Black person. Like Black people were out here struggling, and we needed somebody, and there were people out there just still living their lives as if nothing was wrong, and that really disappointed me. And then of course the election, right?
Yeah.
Like we could go on for days about everything that happened during that, but seeing like relationships crumble because of all of like the human rights and just divisiveness that was going on as a result of that. I mean, we were literally like cutting off people that we had just went to dinner with like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Because we realized who people really were.
That's a fact.
It exposed a lot of people. I say this about America. Now, before I say anything, I love my country. I sing national anthems at some of the biggest stadiums in the city. I love singing the anthem. But America, we have a problem. You know, like I think of America as, you know, when you try to wash your face and you trying to look real good, but there's that one pimple that starts to show itself and gets that big head, and next thing you know, everything pops. That was all the racism, all the hatred, all the divisiveness, like everything that, like, even senses of capitalism where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Sure.
And you don't want to let anybody try to ascend because you don't want anybody to be better than you.
For sure. Yep.
And like having like a very selfish attitude. All that stuff was built up in this pimple. In 2020, we saw that pimple burst.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? And so things that people tried to lay underneath the surface finally came up. And it was a good thing because people exposed themselves and you really found out who you really ride or die with.
That's a fact.
You know, so that's not a bad thing to have to let some people go. You know,
Yes,
again,
sir.
you got to clear some things in order to find that new you, that from the piece you had to take away.
Fact.
Right. So, you know, that's really like the main things that the pandemic taught me is just keep doing what you love to do. Find that thing that you love and stick to it. And don't take your family for granted. I lost a 75-year-old cousin, you know, to this. I know friends who lost parents, other loved ones. I have a friend right now, amazing musician, who's been in the ICU for almost actually 4 months.
Wow.
Because of COVID.
Right. That's crazy.
So we got to value this life that we got.
Yep.
Going to the bars, going to parties, some of that stuff don't matter. It's not as big as we make it. Like, I'm not saying don't have fun, but really ask yourself what's the most important things in your life and really just value those things, because once they're gone, they're gone. You can't get them back.
That's a
Very
fact.
true. Very true. Now, we know one major thing that's important in your life is your music, right? So we want to take it to the stage now, right? So when did you hook up with the members of JWX? and were you always called The Experience, or was there another name there?
All right, we get deep in the questions now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I linked up with my brothers. I call them my brothers because that's what they are. I linked up with my brothers in JWX starting in 2014, 2015. Some guys I had met through other vocalists in the area. I had performed on gigs with them. You know, we just knew about each other through various circles. And a couple other guys I knew from agency bands because we do the wedding and the corporate thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, you play with a lot of people over time and you really start to find out, like, who are the positive people in your life? You know, who are some people that keep you grounded, that hold you accountable, but are also very positive people. And, you know, of course, like, are bomb musicians, you know?
Right.
So, you know, I was fortunate enough to find these guys early on. And, you know, when we started out, I had done an EP release show, like my first ever EP, The Golden Age, that came out back in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, I had just talked about being a solo artist, like just under Jarreau Williams, that was it.
Yeah.
But then when we started playing bars and clubs and things like that, the talent buyers would be like, okay, what do you guys call? And then when I would give them my name, they'd be like, well, no, you got to have something else because people are not going to think that you're a band. They're going to think you're one person.
Uh-huh.
So originally we went with Jarreau Williams Band. And we were going on that for probably about a year and a half, 2 years. And I never liked the name because it was just very basic to me. It didn't really define what we do. And so I talked to the guys about it, and I was like, hey, y'all, I'm thinking about changing the name, Jarreau Williams Band. I'm not really feeling it. And they were like, well, what do you want to change it to? And I was like, I don't know. Like, think about it, like, who are we? And see, that's one thing about a band leader. You have to be willing to listen to your team.
Facts.
Absolutely.
You can't, like, you steer the ship, but somebody's gotta hold the sails. Somebody's got to keep the water off the boat. Somebody's got to feed everybody. There's always a role for somebody to keep the ship afloat, right?
One band, one sound.
Right. Hey, they don't hear you, Devin. They hear the band.
Hey, that's funny.
Talk about it. We thought, like, when we go out to a place, we're not just guys on stage that just play music, play your favorite songs, and then call it a day, go home, and everything's cool. We give you a show. We give you an experience. And that's where that came from. My drummer actually, I think it was my drummer who actually came up with that. He was like, well, what about Jarreau Williams' experience? And I was like,
interesting. Right.
That's nice.
And that's when JWX was born, and my thing is, again, now if I have bigger aspirations. So, once I, play like a bigger venue, like I'm still gonna be Jarreau Williams, but it's gonna be JWX regardless. You know what I mean? That's always gonna be part of the brand.
Yeah.
But it's like for the corporate stuff and for the weddings and all that kind of stuff, we're under JWX. And now people know exactly what that acronym means. They know when they see JWX on the bill, they're like, oh, them dudes gonna bring it.
Wow.
Yep. So that's what we wanted to bring for ourselves. We wanted to tell people, like, hey, you know exactly what you're gonna get when you show up and you see us on that bill. So I'm gonna bring the energy, I'm gonna bring the humor, I'm gonna bring the charisma, and all these guys around me are gonna bring the musicianship. And that's exactly what we've been doing the past 5 years.
That's what's up.
That's what's up, man. Definitely appreciate that. So I definitely wanted to get to this question, and Chief, I'm gonna let you wrap this first part up, man. So as we said earlier, 3-time Whammy Award winner. For those of you who don't know, all right, the Whammy Awards in DC, which has been around for 33 years, is aimed to recognize artists from the DMV for their works in their artistry and the community. All right, so you are a 3-time winner. All right, please tell the people what you won for exactly. All right, and then how was just that experience, throughout? Man,
so this year, last year I was nominated for 1 Grammy, and then this past year I was nominated for 7. And I won for and the winning.
Hey, hold up. 7.
Right.
Hey, I was coming in hot this year,
You were.
But I ended up winning this year for best R&B song, best pop song, and best soul artist.
Congratulations again, man. Congratulations on that.
And, like everything you see happen on an award show where an artist looks completely shocked that they won. That was what happened, man. And when I won the first award, I was sitting here with my parents, and when I heard my name the first time, I just broke down and cried because I just thought about 2020. I thought about everything that I had been through, from losing all the gigs to being depressed and, like working through my fear to put together a home studio so I could record vocals and start putting out songs and working with producers and just trying to make this thing work, right? Just trying to keep the ship afloat.
Yeah.
And to win that, I just broke down and I cried like right on my mom's shoulder. You know what I mean?
don't blame you, bro.
You know, I was just overcome with so much emotion. Then the second one came, and I just was quiet. Like everybody around me was all jumping and hollering. I was getting texts, I was getting calls. I was just like,
wow.
What? Wow. And then Pop Song was the very last award of the night. So they kind of treated that as like, this is the biggest award of the Whammys.
Okay.
And to be in that category with so many people that I look up to musically, like peers who are my age, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older, and seeing all the hard work they put into, and to come out with that award, man, I literally just fell on the floor like Gordon winning after his dad died, like winning on Father's Day. Like that's exactly how it felt, you know, because to have this accomplishment. But the crazy thing was, man, I wasn't just thinking about me. I was thinking about all the people that had something to do with it. And I was thinking like, they're as much a part of this as I am. You know, it wasn't about Jarreau won 3 Whammys. No, we won 3 Whammys.
I hear that.
You know,
I hear that.
The DMV helped me win 3 Whammys. That's kind of how I saw that, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you said that because, like, even with Jordan said it wasn't just me out there. You know, without Pippen, you know, without Steve Kerr's shot, you know.
But remember, even Jordan said he felt his dad was there with him.
That's true. That's true.
And but like you said, it's a team thing. I couldn't have won that without producers, you know, working on my records. I couldn't have won it without people listening to the track and loving the track. All the people that kept me encouraged when I was feeling down, when I was like thinking, "Oh my God, this music, my music, it sounds like trash." Like every artist has that. You can make the most bomb song, and even then, you're just like, "Yo." Some days you feel like this is like the best song ever written, and other days you think it's trash. You know, I had all those feelings. So to be there, and anybody who ever gave me a chance just to show what I could do. I thought about all of them, every venue that I performed at, like everything. It all came together in this one that I couldn't say anything. So, wow. Like, hold up, I gotta show y'all this. Like, even like sitting here with this right now.
Hey, there it is.
Like,
that's tough.
That's one of them, you know, best soul artist.
Wow,
that's right there.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So I got all 3 sitting here, and I'm just still like it's surreal.
Hey, we got to turn that whammy into a
Grammy.
Hey,
I mean, even though the Grammy be funny sometimes, they be funny. Right. But hey, you know, if you still get it, hey, we still salute you on that one. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
All I gotta say to this is The Weeknd. That's all I gotta say to that.
Right. Hey, we hear you.
We'd have had that conversation so many times.
But I mean, this is something that I pursued. You know, I left jobs for this. You know, I left a quote unquote safe corporate job for this.
That's
you know,
true.
because I believed. And if you believe ever so slightly, that's really all it takes. Like they say in the Bible, the mustard seed.
Mustard seed.
That's all it needs. All you need. And like I said, but I couldn't do this on my own. I didn't do it on my own. You know, I put a lot of work into it. A lot of the work was me, but it wasn't all.
That's deep. That's deep. So we're glad that you explained that. It's perfect to hear the whole journey. So we definitely want to hear who is like your dream artist that you would love to work with.
Whoo, man, so many. You know, it's funny, man, because most of the people that I idolize are gone. You know, I would have loved to work with Michael. I would have loved to work with Prince, Whitney,
of course.
Luther.
Yes.
You know, I would have loved to work with all those artists, but if I could pick one right now, it'd be probably honestly, I'm going with the VA connection. So it's not just one. I gotta go with Missy, Pharrell, and Timbaland.
Those are the best ones.
I gotta go with Beach.
Enough said.
Connection,
Best one.
Because just the fact that they're from VA and seeing what they've done, you know, and they're visionaries. Like took an idea and didn't let anybody stop them, you know. And I specifically love Missy because, you know, Missy came out a big girl, and I'm a heavier guy, and she didn't let that stop her, no matter what the industry told her.
That's a fact.
Eventually she slimmed down, you know, but she did it for her.
Yeah.
And she produced a type of music that, you know, girls half her size were making, but she did it better than anybody.
Hey, she did though.
You know?
She did.
She wasn't scared about it, you know. So like working with her, and like because I love what Pharrell did with Jay-Z. I love what Pharrell did with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like a huge fan of that. Same thing with Timberlake, because I was always a huge Justin Timberlake fan. So I put Justin Timberlake up there too. And definitely Bruno Mars. Like, come on.
Yeah,
like,
I see that.
That Silk Sonic album is gonna be insane. And I'm like, if I got the chance to work with them, like, but definitely that VA connection for sure.
I hear that. So last question of this first part of the interview. What is next up for yourself and of course for JWX in 2021?
Yeah, man. So gigs are coming back. Thank God. It's wonderful. We've got we're coming to Front Royal, Virginia. We played there a few times, so we're coming there actually next weekend. This Saturday on the 17th, I'm performing at Popcella, which is a wine festival at Charles County Fairgrounds. So it's through a wine company, through Savage Serenity. It's a homemade wine company based right here in the DMV.
Wow.
So we've got that. I've also got, you know, playing weddings, and I got a wedding in Massachusetts. I got another wedding in California in October. So that's exciting. You know, being able to travel, get that second shot, you know, being fully vaccinated. But yeah, JWX, like we're looking to do the summer festivals where, you know, we're doing more virtual concerts. And then for me as an artist myself, I'm still writing. I'm still making music. You know, I got a couple releases on deck later in the year. I'm also doing a lot of collaborations with artists that I've met on Instagram, artists I've met on Twitter.
That's cool.
People right here in the DMV. So, like I said, it's just been a humble hustle. Yeah,
I hear you. I hear you.
Man, that sounds exciting. Like
I know, right? I know.
Like that make you want to just all right. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get
it.
It's been a long year. It's been a long year.
Yeah,
so
man. Yeah, man. So now we're about to get into our quick five. All right. So I will ask you 5 questions. We just need 5 quick answers to each question. All right. Cool. So first up, tell us one thing that you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey.
Oh, damn, I wish I knew now. God. Oh, see, it's supposed to be quick 5. I'm supposed to just go. It's supposed to be like family, family food. Go.
Right.
Build yourself around positive people.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Love that. Now, you spoke about a few, but which public figure that has passed on would you have loved to have met, possibly talked about each other's experiences, maybe work with them, you know, did a song with them, or just simply just pick their brains for their knowledge?
Michael Jackson.
For sure.
Hands down.
Respect.
Yeah. That's as quick as it comes.
No, respect.
That's all we need to hear.
Respect, absolutely. Which is more difficult, covering a legendary song by a legendary artist or creating your own music?
Interesting.
I'd say creating my own. The reason why I say that is because you when you're covering a song that somebody's already made, you already got the framework.
Okay.
You really just got to bring the emotion on the song and bring the originality to it. But when you're writing your own thing, you're trying not to emulate somebody else. You really want to make it your own thing. And a song can go in so many different directions. So for me personally, I would say definitely create my own music is harder because you want it to be great, and you want to show your influences, but not just be like, oh, well, that's a straight MJ track, or that's a straight this track. You want to be able to turn the track on and say, oh, that's Jarreau. You know?
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah. Love that. All right. So you spoke about weddings earlier, you know, possibly doing some wedding venue. So got a question for you. All right. Would you rather sing at a wedding for 2 skydivers getting married while skydiving?
Woo.
Or at a wedding for 2 rock climbers while rock climbing? By the way, they would like for you to participate. So you got a skydiving thing, or you got a rock climbing.
That's I would definitely go with the skydiving because it's something that I've always wanted to do.
Me too.
And you won't fall as hard.
Right.
If you fall, you're not gonna fall as hard skydiving as you are rock climbing.
That is funny.
That's why we trying to tell people. That's why we trying to tell people, bro. That's why we trying to tell people, yo.
Hey,
so if you falling for 10,000 feet and smacking the water, you ain't falling hard.
Nah, man, you got 3 parachutes sitting back there. You all right?
Right, y'all crazy, man.
I'm gonna be sailing, bro. You know, like no, I ain't talking about falling off rocks and be like, pop, 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 pop.
Right.
So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? We gonna be floating for a while, and then if I belly flop into the river, it is what it is.
Right. That's funny.
The impact is just going to happen immediately. Like you said, rock climbing, you got to feel that all the way down. You got to feel that all the way down. I don't want to do that. If I'm going out, I'd rather be smacked. I'm done. Like Trevor in Fresh Prince.
Will you?
Right.
It's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Hey, that's funny.
Thank you.
I hear that.
That's where I'm at.
And the last question, man. What do you pray for the most? What do you pray for the most?
Ooh, I pray for self-love, man. Honestly, because when you come up like me, like I was bullied a lot, especially in middle school. And I've been a bigger guy for most of my life. So it's like being comfortable in your own skin and being able to do that on stage, especially for me as a performer. Like sometimes I'm very insecure in like the things I wear and like what I do. You know, you think sometimes people are looking at a certain thing and they're really not. So if, more than anything, I just ask God to continue to help me have confidence in myself and continue to love myself better. So like, even if that's like eating right, you know, exercising more, just so I can be my best self, so that when I am on stage, I can really feel like I'm giving the best. Because there's so many things that I have yet to do performing that I want to do and I know I'm capable of doing. But it's like you got to love yourself in order to do that.
Yes, sir.
You gotta bet on yourself, you know?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Amen to that, man.
Definitely.
Well, people, that is our interview. We want to thank everyone for listening and viewing us live right now. Please go follow this brother on all major podcast platforms. All right. I think his IG scroll.
Yeah.
Scroll across on the bottom there. Hey, yo, Jarreau, man, do you have any closing remarks? Anything you want to say to the people? Be
who you love, and you know, do the things that you want to do. Do what loves you back.
Amen.
That's one of the things I always say. And just a reminder to everybody out there: we may say Black Lives Matter, but it doesn't mean we matter more than you. It just means we matter as much as you.
There we go.
So, you know, don't let anybody tell you that Black lives don't matter. So we are, you know, and like I said, the big thing is I just want everybody to stay safe out there. We're at the end of the tunnel, but we're not out yet. So just be vigilant, stay safe. And if you're coming to a show, please send me a DM, hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those other kind of things. I'd love to meet with you. I've also got a mailing list. It's on my link tree on my pages.
Okay.
I send out a weekly newsletter to people, let them know what I got going on or what's coming. So we'd love to connect with people. And just stay safe out there, y'all. Just love is the key.
Love is the key. Perfect. Thank you again to Stream Y'all once again for allowing us to perform. That's what we're going to call it, perform tonight. Please follow HL Podcast right now on IG, TikTok, Facebook, HL Podcast. Once again, Jarreau, thank you for joining our platform. This was amazing. Please check out episode 78 of HL Podcast, and 79 is coming soon, guys.
Yeah. Hey, man, thank you, brother. Again, man, we definitely appreciate this. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace and love.